Hi.
To Shahul Hameed, yeah, all the way from the Singapore, and he's also known as past President Shahul from Rotary Club of Singapore. It is our privilege to actually have you with us this afternoon. And also, warm welcome for all past district governors, all the leaders, all Rotarians, and friends and family this afternoon. I can't mention you one by one because I will be eating on my time. We only have 5 minutes for the introduction. Later on today, I will give a rather full introduction for Pepe Shahul, leading to his session in this afternoon. Meanwhile, I forgot, I'm supposed to do this in Indonesia and in English. Meanwhile, we will divide this seminar into 3 sessions. The first 2 sessions, session pertama dan kedua, are reserved for all the speakers, which is DG February and past President Shahul. And the last sessions, it is for a question and answer. I would like to invite everyone to actually give your comment and your question through the chat box, from your screen. Underneath there is a chat notif, so you can actually click on that one and then type in your question, whether you do it in Indonesian or in English. All right, as long as they are not in Javanese. Okay, and I just been informed that there will be 2 door prizes for 2 lucky participants, which will be announced this afternoon, as well as 10 inductions for the new members from Rotary Club Persada, Surabaya Persada. Yeah, all right. So without further ado, I would like to kick off this webinar with welcoming notes from our own district governors, DG Febri Dipo Kusumo. Monggo, DG.
Terima kasih, DTD Susana Chandra. Dear all Rotarian and Rotractor and of course senior leaders. Greeting from Solo, Indonesia. Thank you so much for Pepe Shahul Hameed for this opportunity to us to give sharing about grants and about our donation. Andre always support our webinar. Thank you for joining us. And all of the senior leader, we have PDG Alpurwa, our DRFC, PDG Suryo, DGE Newman Swastika, PDG Mufid, we have PDG Thomas, and all of the leader, Rotarian and Rotractor. Thank you so much, and this is the webinar, the 4th series. We'll have 10 series for this webinar. Why we invite Pepe Shahul? Because Pepe Shahul is expert in global grant, and of course, I would like to share some photos that we have a project, joint project with the RC Singapore. Maybe Wahyu or Rupee can share this some of photos. This kind of beautiful moment with the Gary Huang, some of Rotarian from District 3 for 20 invited by Rotary Club of Singapore, have a dinner with Gary Huang, the trustee chair, and very nice moment. And do you have another picture? Share some more. And this one is thank you so much for Pepe Shahul and all of friends from Rotary Club of Singapore who held like welcome dinner for our team from Indonesia at the moment. It's very nice and memorable moment that we are enjoyed about this moments. Very nice, and say our regard to President Deepak and all of the member. We see Auntie, and yeah, and the other one maybe the yeah, okay. And Rotarian, every year Rotary Club Singapore has the beautiful and the great program they call the Help the Children. So maybe Pepe Shahul can share about this project, because this project I think is very, very touchful project, because we don't just share the things for the school, but we share our heart. can you imagine all of the Rotarian come from Malaysia, come from Singapore, approximately 60 or 70 members come and join with this project and comes to their house, the kids' house and the kids' school. So I think this is a good project for the future. So not just giving the things, but we give our heart, and all of the donator, they're very feel happy, not just happy, but they feel more so touchy. Yeah? So I mean, it's make us proud to be Rotarian, because we can connect with people when we make the project like that. Maybe the other picture, this one, I like that picture so much, with Pepe Shahul there with this student. So this one, another picture with Uncle Mohantu and all of the member of Rotary Club Singapore, and then with the children and with Ibu Wali Kota Batu, the mayor of Batu. So those kind of project is very very great and very touchy for me too, and for all of the participants. So this one is like a beautiful project. So we hope in this webinar we can learn from Pepe Shahul, and maybe all of the participants we can discuss about the project. And as Pepe Irawan told about the information from RI this morning, it's like yeah, a little bit sad for us. So maybe we can discuss about that. Thank you so much. Enjoy the webinar for today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, DG. So there is a sad news from Pepe Irawan, huh?
Yes.
You didn't give him the microphone until later. Okay, so moving on, I would like to give a bit of introduction for Dr. Shahul. Dr. Shahul, he's been Rotarian for the last 25 years as a member of Rotary Club of Singapore, and he is a dentist as a profession, but also he is a senior lecturer at the National University of Singapore, a council member of Dental Council, and all other prestigious positions that might take a whole hour for me to mention it if I have to go through it. So excuse me, I'm going to emphasize on his role in the Rotary. So Dr. Shahul currently is a District International Service Chair, also a Stewardship Chair for the District 3310. In the coming July 2020, he will be becoming the District Rotary Foundation Chair for District 3310. So what we call as the DRFC. So this is the person that we need to contact if we want Singapore to give us the money for the project. Okay, as the recipients of the Rotary Service Above Self Award, Dr. Shahul has assisted Rotary Club of Singapore more than 120 global grant applications, and 70 of them has been approved. That is an astounding numbers, because in comparison, based on the discussion I had with PDG Al this morning, District 3420 in total in a year, we only do global grant about 7 or 8. Correct me if I'm wrong, DRC approval. All right, so I presume the Shahul really knows by heart how to make an approvable global grant. Approvable, as mentioned as PDG Andre. Yeah, so fellow Rotarians, family and friends, I've been a Rotarian for the last 12 years. And since the beginning, as long as I can remember, we always encourage members to participate with their contribution to the TRF. So I would like to invite Pepe Shahul to share his stories, his aspiration, to inspire, as well as to give us some insight. What do they do with our little donation to the Rotary Foundation? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians, I would like to present Past President Shahul. The time is yours.
Thank you so much, Susanna. Thank you. Can you allow me to share my screen? Can I share my screen?
Okay, you can start now.
All right. Are we okay? Are the screen all right?
Yes, yes, we
All
can. We can.
First of all, thank you very much, Susanna, for the kind introduction, and of course, DG February, for allowing me to share a little bit about Rotary. Of course, it's my pleasure to speak to District 3420 any time of the day. Now with Zoom, we can do it anytime. What I would like to talk about today is about global grants and how we can do good in this world with your donations. So what do we mean by that? There are several things that we want to talk about. First of all, I don't have any special superpower. We are all have the same superpower. We are all Rotarians. All right, that is something that I want all of you to remember. The fact that you are here attending a webinar for global grants and to see how we can do good for the world, I think you have that superpower, which is the same as I do. Now, a few things to tell you. First of all, I do not represent the Rotary Foundation. The views I express here are my personal views, but this is the views that have been accumulated over the years I have worked with Rotary and global grants, and I hope we can together share our knowledge so that we can improve ourselves further. Now, there are a lot of things that are available on the My Rotary website. Yes, global grant is not easy to do, but just like riding a bicycle, you have to learn once and you'll never forget it for the rest of your life. Even if you haven't gone on a bicycle for 10 years, you can just go up on a bike and start cycling, you'll not forget it. So that is my experience. So you need to go through the resources, you need to read a lot of the resources. These are some of the older ones, but the information are the same. In our district, we are asking those who want to do global grants and all incoming presidents to do the grant management seminar. The grant management seminar will give you a basic foundation of what Rotary Foundation and what global grants is all about. That is a work that all of you have to do. Now, very often the word expert has been used as far as global grant is concerned and as far as I am concerned. But I just want to tell everybody that every expert, including myself or including anybody else here, is a novice in the beginning. We all have to go through the process. We all have to learn. Nobody is born an expert in global grant, trust me, and the information is all there. Now, before I proceed further, I just want to highlight that Rotary Club Singapore has been active in Indonesia, at least for the past 12 to 13 years. The first 2 or 3 years, we work independently without Rotary clubs. But as you can see on this screen here, these are some of your PDGs who have been very, very helpful with our global grants. And I've included PP Donna from Rotary Club of Malang Central to represent all the members of a club that I've worked with for the past 10 years. Donna is an expert by herself. You may not know her level of skill as far as global grant is concerned, but she has done several global grants with us, and whatever I know, she knows. There's no secret to it. And the members of Rotary Club Malang Central, I know President Gatot is here. They're all like my brothers and sisters, all right? I can pick up the phone and talk to them anytime. And that has to be the very first thing that we learn about global grant. You have to trust your partners. If you don't have the trust with your partners, no global grant, all right? So keep that in mind. Now, so what is Rotary Foundation? If there's nothing else that we remember from this webinar, just remember one thing. The Rotary Foundation is the charitable arm of Rotary International. It has a separate board of trustees. It conducts its own business. It has its own meetings. It has its own minutes. It maintains its own budget. It is separate from Rotary International. Now, this is a simple chart that I did it myself. That's why I have the disclosure in the beginning. So it's not something that I got it from Rotary Foundation. So you can see the structure here. You have Rotary International and you have Rotary Foundation. And a lot of you know that a number of the Rotary Foundation trustees, or in fact, all the Rotary Foundation chairman of the trustee board is always a past RI president. Currently, it's Gary Huang. 1st July, it will be Ravi, past RI president Ravi. So as you can see, that there's a very good succession of plans and ideas as far as Rotary International and Rotary Foundation is concerned. So what is Rotary Foundation? You see that there are several grants that is available. You have polio, everybody knows about it. There's the global grant, which we term it, or I term it as humanitarian grants. And then there's educational grants that gives up like scholarships, peace scholarship, for example, you may heard of it. And humanitarian grants is again separated into two, the global grants and district grants. We'll talk about it later. And the global grant itself, there are 3 different distinct type of global grants.
Okay.
The scholarship grants, you have the global, the approved global grants, and then you have the vocational training team global grants. Now, the Rotary Foundation grants, I think we all know about this. I'm not sure how active district grant is in your district, but it is possible to do district grants and it is possible to do global grants. So let's look very briefly. What is the difference? They are essentially the same, but completely different. The district grant, small project, short-term activities, very, very similar to what you would do in your club projects. So if you have a club project and you want to upgrade it a little bit, make it slightly bigger, you can talk to your district governor, your district Rotary Foundation chair, and see if you can do it under a district grant. So each district can choose what it wants to do. District grant can also involve humanitarian project. It will also give you possibility to do disaster recovery. So if there's an earthquake or there's a tsunami, there's a typhoon, there's a cyclone, money can be released very quickly from the Rotary Foundation to do projects under district grants. A lot of people don't even know there's a section that you can do scholarships. If you want to sponsor some students for scholarship for a short period of time, you can look into global grants. Now, the Rotary Foundation gives each district flexibility to decide what you want to do. For an example, in my district, we try to discourage district grant altogether. All right, the reason is because district grants is not matched by the Rotary Foundation, but a lot of other districts continue to do district grants so that they can reach out further to as many clubs as possible. So these are some examples of district grant. COVID-19 pandemic is an excellent example of where you can use district grant quickly. The only difference is that because it's a pandemic, Rotary Foundation work really quickly and make even global grant very easy for COVID-19. But can you imagine if there's a disaster that struck only a certain area in India, like a cyclone, or certain area in Nigeria where there's a famine? You can use the district grant funds very quickly and you can get approval and the grants can be used to help the people. So whether it's giving food in India or Indonesia, giving food packets in Singapore, or giving foods in Nigeria, all these are possible with a district grant. What about natural disaster? Just last week, there was a big problem in West Bengal in India, and the bottom left of your screen, that's the cyclone. This is Calcutta, soon after the cyclone Amphan hit them. And of course, the other pictures you are very familiar with is the earthquake that happened in Indonesia. So money can be used very quickly. Projects can be approved within the district itself. So there are some advantages to it. Now, what are the other types of district grants? District grants can also be international. It doesn't have to be in your country. So this is an example of a possible district grant. This is a project in China. As you know, China has has Rotary clubs. But at the point when we did this project in 2013, there were only 2 Rotary clubs in China. And the projects to be done in China are very, very controlled by the government. So this is a very low scale project, small scale project. We help the schools in a mountainous area in Lijiang in China, where we give sports equipment, as well as help them improve their classroom. All right, so you can see they're very basic tables and chairs. So the district grant allows us to sponsor some of this equipment for the children. In Singapore, for example, you can help do special programs for the special kids. For example, this is a Down Syndrome Association, where we come up with a retired national soccer player. He conducts weekly lessons. So money from the global grants can be used in some projects such as this. So this is another example of a global grant. These children are from vulnerable homes for whatever reason. Maybe their parents are still in prison. Maybe their parents are involved in drug abuse. Maybe their parents are no more around. So this project actually sponsors them to have a reading session. Once a week, a reading session, a full 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon, and it's done over a period of 6 months to a year. So this is another typical global district grant project. What about a house cleaning project? In Singapore, a lot of the elderly lives in very small apartments. We call it small single room or small mini apartments where they live mostly by themselves. And after a while, they have no capacity to take care of themselves. And the flat that they stay in, the apartment that they stay in, become a health hazard. So projects like this will also qualify for a district grant, cleaning the place, giving a fresh coat of paint, making the whole place safe for the elderly. It's a perfect project for a district grant. Now, this is a nice pictorial. You can see the difference between district grant here, and you can see the difference with global grant. So global grant tend to be a little bit bigger, but it stays still the same project. Let's learn a little bit what global grant is all about. So we talk about small, now we talk about larger projects. The only other difference that we have, which is the most important one, is that the project for global grant has to be sustainable. So what is sustainable? Again, we'll talk about it a bit later. Now, global grant project also require you to form partnership. I think this is one of the most beautiful things that you can have for Rotary. If not for global grants, I don't think I will be sitting down here knowing so many of you from District 3420, honest to goodness. Without global grant, I don't think we will have that kind of relationship that we have with Rotary Club Malang Central, with Rotary Club of Batu and Rotary Club Surabaya. So this is the beautiful thing, because the project with a global grant forces the two clubs to come together, to communicate, to plan, to do all the things that's required for a global grant to work. We all know about this 6 area of focus. This hasn't changed for the past 6-7 years. So the global grant must also be one of these area of focus. So what really is a global grant project? Let's look at real projects. So we've talked quite a bit for about 10 minutes now. Let's see some real example. Ahmad was 25 years old when he was hit by a truck when crossing the highway in Nigeria. He was a promising young man. At 25 years old, he's just completed his Bachelor of Engineering. And in a country where there's 40% unemployment among young young people below the age of 40, losing a limb completely dashed all his hopes of getting a proper job. So this project, which is a global grant project in Nigeria, in Lagos, between Rotary Club Singapore and Rotary Club Lagos Island, gives away 1,000 limbs. Now, it didn't stop there. If we had just given the limbs, doesn't matter whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000. If we had just given the limbs, it would not have qualified for the global grant. The global grant also pays for him to get physiotherapy training. It also pays for us to sponsor a number of young people who have no previous experience as far as making limbs are concerned. We give them a livelihood. So you see these 4 young people in front of the screen. These are the 4 young gentlemen that was sponsored by Rotary as part of the global grant to become limb technicians. It also allows us to do multiple follow-ups, not to just stop after giving the limb. All right, it gives us a chance to find out what else that we can do for them. And another interesting thing is, over the years, we've expanded the global grant for the limb project to include limb camps. You've heard of medical camps, you've heard of dental camps, you've heard of blood donation camps. These are limb camps. The group will actually leave Lagos, travel 2 hours outside Lagos, and they will do all this necessary for the community in the area, do all the measurements, go back to Lagos, produce the limbs, and 2 weeks later, go back to the same place and fit the limbs on the spot. All right, so this is what the project is all about. And Global Grant Project, because of the way it is able to reach out to a lot of people, suddenly becomes an excellent public image product for Rotary. It's a great vehicle. So this was the official launch of the project in Lagos in 2017. And there's a district governor there, himself a medical doctor, with all the press present. And you can see with Rotary's, the background giving Rotary's other projects and the media present, social media, regular media present. It was a great day for Rotary because it improves the image of what the public has, what Rotary is concerned. But I think the best example that we can get, the best way that donors like all of us can know how their money is benefiting the community in the world at large, is having a session like this, a sharing session, where the 3 gentlemen in the middle, the one with the microphone, and the 2 other gentlemen on the right, the 3 of them have artificial limbs fitted on. But you look at their feet, fellow Rotarians, you cannot see the difference. But when they speak with so much passion, and they thank Rotary so much, not so that they can walk, but for giving back their self-esteem. All right, in a room full of press people, this is a great day for Rotary, not only for the public image, but for the donors themselves. So this project in Lagos, we went through 3 cycles with Global Grant. We also did a similar project in India. And District 9110 chose this project as the best community service project for Nigeria in the year 2017-2018. 2018. So what is the difference? What is Global Grant Project compared to a humanitarian project? They are the same, but they are different. Let's look at this project. This is a project in Philippines, just an hour away from Manila, to feed the children in the school. 2,000 school children in one hall. I was there and I can tell you, this is the truth. But is this a Global Grant Project? The children are undernourished. They don't have enough food. All right. So when you don't have enough food, you're undernourished, you're open to so much other problems. It's a very good project. It costs only 50 cents Singapore to feed them one meal a day. But is it a Global Grant Project? It is not. What about feeding orang asli, penduduk asli in India? This is indigenous people in the northeastern part of India. And I was there in this room, and you can only see they're only girls. 10,000 of them here. In the same center, there were 16,000 other boys. So 26,000 children who are sitting down and they require help. Do you want to guess what they asked for? Food. So if you give them food, of course it's a humanitarian project. Come on, it's a basic need. This project and this organization was actually featured in National Geographic Mega Kitchens. So go and search for it and go and read about the organization. So all they wanted was to ask us to sponsor for food. Is it a humanitarian project? Of course it's a humanitarian project. Is it a Global Grant Project? No, it's not a Global Grant Project. What about Indonesia? What about Indonesia? We've done this project before. We gave school-going items to school kids in the elementary class. If we stop here, fellow Rotarians, it is not a Global Grant Project. It is a district grant project. It is a humanitarian project, but it is not a Global Grant Project. What about giving clean water to a community in Vietnam? Everybody is happy. Diseases are prevented. Safety is assured. But is it a Global Grant Project if you just give water, clean water? No, it's not. What about if you do an eye operation? What if you do a medical mission? This is a project, I think, in 2015 in Nepal, where if you travel and do free dental treatment and free medical treatment, it is not a Global Grant Project if you just stop there. What if you do a heart surgery, fellow Rotarians? Is it a Global Grant Project? We have a chance to look at all that. But before that, let's learn a little bit more about what Global Grant is all about. Rotary Foundation says that Global Grant is a funding, it's an investment in long-lasting change. It must be long-lasting change. It cannot be an immediate or short-term change. So whatever money that you do, the project that you do must include planning and management of the resources. You must know where the money goes to and where it goes to. You must go through a certain process of acquiring the resources, planning, evaluation, and the most important thing, it must be sustainable. So what is sustainability? Let's talk about sustainability. I look into the dictionary, it says sustainability is the endurance of systems and processes. It sounds something an engineer would say, right? For us, I'm a dentist, I don't understand what it means. So I thought that the project with sustainability means you must do something. You must do it over and over again. You must do it until all the needs are satisfied. Sounds like a good idea. That means we sustain it, right? We do it right to the end. But I was wrong. Let's look through again the difference between humanitarian project and a Global Grant Project. That's me at the background, at the foreground. All right, I was there. This is the reason why I joined Rotary. I wanted to serve based on my vocation. And in the first 12 to 13 years of my membership in Rotary from 1995 to 2009, I did an average of about 2 or 3 medical missions per year. This is what I wanted to do. Rotary gave me a great platform, and I was able to use my connection in Rotary, my connection in dentistry, to actually bring dental services to remote areas. And I feel good about it. I say, hey, I'm doing good things for the world. And this should be a global grant, but it's not. I'll tell you why. We bring all this equipment and supplies from Singapore. We treat hundreds of patients. We did this every 2 years for maybe 3 or 4 cycles. And then SARS came in 2003. And we had to stop going to Nepal. So what happened before SARS came? We were so happy that every time we came, we had less work to do. The children had less caries, less dental decay, less work to do, less dental extractions. But when SARS came, we couldn't go back for 3 years. When we went back after that, fellow Rotarians, you know what happened? All the caries came back, all the tooth decay came back, and everything came back. there's no sustainability in this project. All right, same thing with any medical mission. It solves the problem on the spot, but it doesn't solve a long-term problem, right? So what should we do instead? Just look at this picture. You have a doctor from Singapore, you have a patient in Indonesia, treatment is done in a community center. But if you make it into a global grant, what we can do instead of just doing the treatment, of course we need to do the treatment, but we also need to educate the child. We need to educate the teachers who are educating the child. What she can do, what the teachers can do, what the child can do to avoid dental decay. Instead of bringing Singapore doctors, we should share the knowledge. We should increase the capacity. We should help transfer of expertise between one country to another so that after the doctors leave, the expertise remain in that country. Instead of bringing our own dental assistant, we should train this assistant so that they can also contribute to decreasing the dental problem in that country. If you do that, if you include all these aspects, it will become a global grant. Now, let's look at some other example. You know what will happen to people like Ahmed after he gets his limb? He will say, thank you very much. And he will go home with his new limb. He will reach home. He will take out his limb, put it outside, and start begging on the street. That is the reality. That is the reality if you just give the limb. What about feeding the children? What will happen? You know, this is a real project. We fed the children for 40 weeks in a year. Do you know why it's 40 weeks and not 52 weeks? Because the 12 weeks is school holidays. So what happened when they come back from their summer break? Can you guess if the child has gone from 20 kilogram to 25 kilogram for 40 weeks? When they come back after the 3 months break, they are back to 20 kilogram. There's no sustainability at all. How are you going to continue feeding them? So the Rotarian says it's a good idea. We shall feed them for 52 weeks. And that's what we did. We feed them for 52 weeks. But that itself doesn't qualify as a global grant. So what needs to be done is you need to change the mindset. We need to go to the underlying problem. Why are the children not fed enough? Is it the lack of food? I don't believe so. Is it the lack of livelihood for the parents? Maybe. Right? So we need to get into the underlying problems and maybe have double-prong effect, double-prong approach where you can help the children as well as helping the parents. Yes, we cannot solve all the problems in the world. But if you want to do a global grant, this is something that you have to think about. So the old definition of having to do something over and over again, like I've proven to you, it doesn't work. So what it means is that for a project to be considered sustainable, after the project's over, after you've given the skills, after you've given the knowledge, after you've walked away, after the money has ended, the effects are still there. If you give a computer to a school, if you give 50 computers, let's say you give 500 computers to all the schools in an area in Indonesia, what will happen after you leave? They may not know how to run the computer. They might sell the computer because they needed the roof. Nobody asked them what you need. They just come and say, look, we have 500 computers from Singapore. Do you want it? All right. Most school principal will not say, no, thank you. I don't want it, right? They will say, yes, please give it to me, right? But what they needed was just the roof. And the roof was leaking, right? But if you teach them how to use the computer, if you make sure the students go through a course, if you make sure the teachers are taught to run the program, can they sell that knowledge? Can they sell that knowledge? They can't, right? So let's go through another example. This is a boy from Vietnam. Let's call him John, for example. So John is a happy boy. He's from a village in Hue in central Vietnam. He's at the border with Laos. Hue is an area in central Vietnam that suffered a lot of damage from chemical warfare known as Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. For those of you who are too young to remember about the Vietnam War, this was the time when the Viet Cong were hiding in the jungles when the Americans couldn't catch them. So what the Americans did was to spray Agent Orange, which is a chemical, and you kill off all the plantations so that the Viet Cong cannot hide anymore in the jungle. Now the effects of Agent Orange has continued to be felt years after that. The water is contaminated and a high number of disabled children and adults in the villages around the area. There's a dark secret. Can you imagine this is your child, your grandchild? Can you imagine they go to a preschool? And can you imagine they have no clean water? Can you imagine there's no running water? Right? So this project helps to provide clean water. How and why? This is John's grandfather. His job, since he turned 60 years old, when he couldn't do the hard work in the farm, is to collect water. He needs to walk 45 minutes up the mountain to collect the water and 45 minutes to walk down. When the monsoon season comes, the number of injuries people like him can suffer is tremendous. So what happened? And the water they get is not very high quality water. You can see the murky water that is available. So what happened when John's grandfather is not well? Guess who has to take up the duties? John's sister. Research has shown that the number of times, the number of girls in the house, in the homes, that have been relegated to the duties of becoming the person to collect water from the family means that they will miss school and they will leave school earlier. So this is John's grandmother. All right, if John wants to use the toilet, he can go to grandmother number 2. You can see the toilet over there, or he can go to grandmother number 1. Not much difference. So it's an outside toilet. So the project looks into providing clean water in cooperation with a Rotary club in America. There are no Rotary clubs in Vietnam, for example, yeah? And the project objectives was very simple: to provide water to all the 316 households in the village, and to provide initially 15 to 50 toilets. And the last part that's more important, training for water and sanitation hygiene. So what do we do? Now, as you can see that we Rotarians don't have all the expertise, right? We can be doctors, we can be dentists, we can be accountants, we can be travel agents, but we may not necessarily be water experts. But that doesn't stop us to find solutions. That doesn't stop us to strengthen societies by getting the right expertise. So this is why it must come to, if you're looking into doing global grants. Because when we take your money, when we take your donation, we want to be really serious about it. You can give your money and your donation anywhere. You can give to a church, you can give to a mosque, you can give to a tabung amal, you can give to anything. But in Rotary, when we take your money, we are serious about it. We want to be sure that the money is really, really well spent and we are able to account for it. So this is the end product. The picture on the left, you can see this is the end product of water that you get. But very interestingly, we want to make sure that we are people of action. We want to make sure that we are creating real-time solution. We put a water meter in the house. How many projects that provide free water will even think of putting a water meter? The idea of the water meter is very simple. Water is limited. The water meter means that we know how much water is used by each household and they will not abuse it. The villagers have to pay a certain amount of money to use the water, very little, maybe $2 a month, all right? If they exceed the maximum amount of water that can be used in a household based on the number of people staying there, the water is cut off. You cannot pay $4 or $10 to continue getting the water. The money is yours, but the resources is shared, right? Now, we didn't stop there. We want to make sure that all the villagers understand where the water came from. We brought all of them, or those who are benefiting, to go to the water treatment center up in the mountain so that they understand where the water comes from. We also explain to them and ensure that they understand how the water is properly filtered before it's suitable for drinking. And on top of that, we paired up with 50 toilets that's given free of charge to 50 homes. So this was the project, a complete global grant project. And the 2 schools that I showed you just now, we supplied toilets in the two classrooms. They never had toilets there before, but this was the toilets that were sponsored by the Rotary Global Grant. And now with the COVID-19 pandemic, you can imagine how clean water and how John is now keeping himself and his family safe. The problem with water is tremendous. The number of people who don't have access to clean water is unbelievable, right? So Rotarians themselves, we need to be trained. Rotarians themselves as donors. If you look at this picture, I can tell you that all of them are donors. All of them have given to some project. And we really take the time to make sure that they understand where their money is going to and who they are helping. So in the end, about 316 families, 1,252 persons, about $72,000 project. Now, community assessment is something that is really, really important for Rotary because you need to know what is it they need, fellow Rotarians. The money that we get from you, we want to make sure that we're giving the beneficiaries what they need. The example that I gave you, after a tsunami, a lot of Rotarians in Singapore started giving computers to schools in Cambodia, to schools in Myanmar, to schools in everywhere. But they don't need your computer now. They need a roof. So as Rotarians, you must do community assessment. You must know what is needed. Let's take another example, Help the Children. DG February talked about it. Now, Help the Children was a project that came by accident. I must tell you the honest truth. When we first went to Indonesia, to East Java, we were working with an orphanage, but we thought that we couldn't work in an area where there are Rotary clubs and not work together with another Rotary club in Indonesia. So this was a project to give school supplies, and this was back in 2013. We first sponsored the project in 2011, 2012, so it's about 10 years already. So these are the basic things that students get. And this is over the years that we've done, all right? I'm still missing some bags, all right? I'm a bag collector. So this is from 2012 all the way to 2019. I think RC Malang Central, you should be very proud of yourself. I'm looking for bags for 2011. So if any of you have it, please send me a picture, all right? So the project has been hugely successful, even for Rotary Club Singapore. We've done project in 13, 14 countries, but this is our signature global grant project. This is our signature project every year. And this is the first project that gets onto the calendar. And this is the first project all incoming DGs will put it down in their calendar. All right, that's how important we feel that this project is all about. Okay, so it gives book supplies, but more importantly, is make sure that you need to make proper training so that you know who you are trying to help and what do they really need. Now, giving school supplies itself is not enough. The project coupled with a teacher training or teacher capacity building program where we actually engage the teachers from each of the schools that we help, whether it's 10 schools, 20 schools, or 30 schools. We get teachers from all the schools. We also engage the parents. We select parents whose children is the beneficiary for the Help the Children. We encourage them, or we want them to be involved in this project so that in the future they have the skills to be independent and they come to us and they say, thank you very much, but I don't need your Help the Children project this year because I'm more independent for the help that you've given us. Now, it requires a lot of cooperation, and these are some of the pictures, the meetings that we had, the number of times. I enjoyed it. I enjoy completely coming to Indonesia 3, 4, 5 times a year. But every time we come, we make sure that we meet with our Rotarians. We make sure that we talk to the parents. We want to see them. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. We want to see them so we can talk to them personally to see what is it they need. We have special meetings with the teachers outside the school. We visit the homes of the children. And this is the final product of the very first global grant that we've done for the Help the Children project back in 2013, 2014. It doesn't stop there. When we bring our donors, when we bring our Rotarians, it's very important for us, for me as an organizer, to make sure that the donors and the Rotarians know where their money is going to and who they are helping. So these are the homes for some of the beneficiaries for our project. We will spend one afternoon and we will walk through the homes, inside the homes, yeah, fellow Rotarians. We just don't go outside. We'll go inside and we'll say hello to them, have a cup of coffee, all right, have some kueh, you know. We just want to say hello to them. We want to know what is it that they are doing, all right? Now, the project was so successful that I must give credit to Rotary Club Malang Central and PP Donna for having this project selected as a reference guide for grants application for other clubs worldwide. This is in 2014. As you know, the Global Grant Project only came in 2013 on the 1st of July, and within a year, this project in Malang was selected as a reference guide, right? So community assessment is completely important. Let's go to India. Now, India is the home of the most number of blind people in the world, 30 over million. I'll give you an example. In the state of West Bengal, approximately 1 million people need surgery. The capacity of all the eye hospitals, all the surgery in the state is 100,000. It will take 10 years just to clear the current backlog. That is the dire situation. It doesn't affect only the old people. It doesn't affect only the old people. It affects everybody. Before, in 2008, 2009, 2010, eye camps were really, really popular in India because it allows eye surgery to be done in the village. You can do it in a community center, you can do it in the school, but there's a problem. There's a high rate of complications, and India has banned doing eye surgeries in a non-hospital environment. So suddenly, we have to think of a new idea. So this brings me a story when I was visiting India in 2013, when I was the president of the Rotary Club of Singapore. And I sat and listen through the district governor who's on your extreme left wearing the tie. He was on the microphone and he says, Rotary Club Singapore, give me 25,000 US dollars and I will give you a Rotary Eye Hospital. I didn't believe him. I thought that he was joking. I didn't believe him. So I pull him aside and I says, are you serious? He says, Dr. Shahul, if you do it as a global grant, you need only half the amount. You only need $12,500. I took his word for it. I took up the challenge. And a year later, this was our dream come true. It's the Rotary Club of Singapore and the Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar Royal Rotary Eye Hospital. It was inaugurated in 12 June 2015. And you can see they have nicely named one of the ward as the RC Singapore ward. And this project was duplicated over the next 5-6 years. We've gone to other parts of India. We've duplicated the model using global grant, using DDF, and look at the reach that it has to curing avoidable blindness. And in the end, as we speak today, we've put together 8 Rotary Club Singapore eye hospitals at a cost of about $3.8 million and 60,000 surgeries. So that is the reach that we can do, and that's the good that we can do to our world, and this is the promise that we give to Rotarians and donors. Now, just a few questions. Do we really need to be a PHF, a Paul Harris Fellow, to contribute to global grants and Rotary Foundation? The answer is no. Must we give a minimum of $1,000 US to do a global grant project? Does a Rotarian that you speak to after this lecture, do you have to tell them you must give me $1,000? The answer is no. He can give $25, he can give $100, he can give $200. There is no minimum amount. The only difference is that if you give $1,000 US, what do you get? You get a PHF, right? So is it important to everybody to give $1,000 to get a PHF? It's not important, right? But what I can assure you, fellow Rotarian, is that up to the 30th of June this year, if every dollar that you give to the Rotary Foundation, you'll be matched 50 to 100%. If you give $10 US, you can feed 28 children in India and also in Philippines. If you give $50 after the matching, you can pay for 2 eyesights in India, 2 eyesight surgery. If you give $75 US, you can put 1 child through school in Indonesia or in Nigeria. If you give $100 US, you will pay for 8 vaccinations for young girls to avoid cervical cancer in the future. And if you give $100, you can pay for this gentleman to walk again. And if you give $1,000 US, you can give a life to a new child. Now, so why do we give? Why do we give? All of us have different reasons when we give to Rotary or we give to charity. Like I say, you can give to so many sources. You can give anywhere. You can give to your church, you can give to your favorite charity, you can give to anybody. But why give to Rotary? This lady or this girl, she was, I think, 12, 13 years old when we met her in Bakti Luhur in Malang. We asked her, like what we normally do, what can we do for you? She says, Pak Shahul, I want to go to school. Saya mau ke sekolah. I say, yeah, you can go to school. What's the problem? She says, I cannot walk. I cannot walk to school. All right. So what we did is we put together a special bus, all right, with special lifts, so that not only her, but people like her in the orphanage can use the bus so that they can go to school. So it was our immense pleasure when we visited a few years later, she was back at the orphanage volunteering herself, right? What do we give again? I want you to meet Rotarian Ravi Shankar. He's the one with the red tie on the right, holding the check. He gave away $14.7 million US on the 1st of July 2018 when he was inaugurated as president of his club. He gave away 75% of his wealth, 75%. So the question is that, Rotarian Ravi Shankar, why do you give away your money? He says, I don't feel like I'm giving away my money because I grew up poor. I had to knock on doors and everybody who opened the door gave me food. So this is like giving back. It's not giving away.
Giving back, not giving away.
That's true. Now, one last story. I know it's been a long session. Now, one last story. It's a true story. This is in India. Several years ago, we looked into improving the village school. So on the right, you can see the toilet. On the left, you see the children sitting on the floor. Now, this village is right in the monsoon path. So during monsoon season, the children have to study in the village to start with because the village is about 1.6 kilometers away from the main road, and the nearest school is another 1 hour away. So you will take them typically about 2 hours to go to school, and during monsoon season, they don't go to school outside the village, right? So the project came together, probably the biggest project I've been involved with, about $500,000 US, is to build a village school, and we got it in cooperation with our Taiwanese counterparts, our Rotarians from Taiwan, and it's a wonderful image on the left. There is no way that we can get Taiwanese professionals and Rotarian to travel 8 hours to India, another 3 hours by road to visit a village that I'm sure they'll never ever visit if it's not because of Rotary. So it was a great day. As you can see, the opening was attended by TRF Chair, Gary Huang, and RIPN now, Shekhar Mehta was there as well. And it was a great day for everybody. So this was the before when it was under construction and after. When I first found out that we are able to do this project, I was told that the land was donated by a villager. So I said, okay, we have to meet this villager. We want to say hello to him, thank you very much, Maybe he's some landowner, some big shot. He wasn't. This is the landowner. The land is about 10,000 square feet. All right, it's not a very big piece of land, but easily worth $10,000 US in India. We asked him, why are you selling your land? And we asked him, where is your house? And that is his house. I said, you must be crazy. And he told me, Dr. Shahul, I've been in a village all my life, 70 over years. I have no children. All right. So for me, the reward I get is to see the school children in my village getting an education. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life sitting outside my hut, and I'm going to watch all the children going to school so that they get an education, and that is my reward from God. And He's been getting that reward every day. So, fellow Rotarians, I ask you to come together with me today to think about investing in humanity. Don't think about giving your money away. Don't think we don't want your $100, we don't want your $1,000. We want you to invest. Come together with Rotary Foundation, come together with Rotary clubs in Indonesia and around the world, invest in humanity. And that's what we can do for the world. Thank you very much.
Wow. Can everyone have a big clap now? Can everyone do that? Yeah?
Thank you, Rupee Shahul.
It is mind-blowing, Past President Shahul. That's the I've been writing down all these things because everyone said like the moderator has to make a conclusion in Bahasa. I'm like, there is only one conclusion that I can say. Past President Shahul has a superpower. Yeah. We all agree? Clap hand for him. It is a beautiful presentation and it's a mind-blowing. It's very touching, but I think saya mesti make some conclusion in Bahasa Indonesia just a little bit. I know I can't wrap it up really, but basically for buat global grant, kita harus bedakan yang ada namanya humanity, project-project kemanusiaan versus dengan global grant. Yang membedakannya sebenarnya adalah apakah itu sustainable. Kemudian tadi Pak Shahul gone so long with some stories and inspiring pictures, as well as all those reward. Bahwa a lot of people, kita lupa bahwa yang harus kita lakukan, yang kita lihat adalah what is the underlying problem. So what is the source of the problem? Sometimes kita melihat orang tidak pakai toilet, tidak punya toilet, kita kasih toilet. Tetapi sebenarnya underlying problemnya adalah dia tidak mengerti hygiene. So di dalam global grant yang dilakukan adalah yes, kita kasih mereka toiletnya, tetapi juga kita educate bagaimana mereka understand about the hygiene. Sehingga pada saat Rotary pergi setelah selesai dengan global grant-nya, kita balik lagi, proyeknya masih tetap jalan, toiletnya masih dipakai dan tidak digunakan sebagai gudang. Ya, a lot of Rotarians sometimes we are eager to help, we are willing to help, but we forget to look what is the underlying problem. So we just see what they don't have. Misalkan malnutrition, kita kasih mereka makanan. Kemudian orang tidak punya kaki, kita kasih mereka limb. But what is next? That is the purpose of the sustainability yang menjadi suatu syarat dari si global grant. Okay, and then Pepe Shahul tadi menjelaskan beberapa samples yang sangat luar biasa. Saya pikir your pictures is actually telling the stories on its own, and how you present that is actually very interesting. Kemudian, so hopefully they will inspire. But one of the closing words that you said is actually very, very, very excellent. Invest in humanity. Jadi mungkin ini yang kita kadang-kadang lupa. Kita mengencourage orang untuk menyumbang, menjadi PHF, menjadi PHS, menjadi major donors, and all those attributes. But sometimes we forget to actually encourage them. Like, this is not giving your money away, but this is your investment to humanity. We were born with nothing. Kita waktu lahir tidak punya apa. Banyak juga dari para pebisnis kita di sini yang dulu juga tidak punya uang. Dan kita knock on doors, people memberikan bantuan. We don't have food, people give you food. So pada saat Anda punya lebih, it's not about giving away, but it's about to give back. Benar, Pepe Shahul? Is that correct? The way I'm actually translating your presentation?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about investing in humanity, and it's about giving back. Okay, saya tidak bisa memberikan conclusion yang terlalu panjang karena akan eating into the question and answer yang saya mau tanyakan kepada Pepe Shahul. Sebelum saya masuk ke chat, ada satu pertanyaan sebenarnya yang saya gatel banget pengen tanya. So I was actually so eager to ask this question. Rotary Club of Singapore. I know it's one of the oldest club in the district.
Oldest.
The oldest one? How many members do you have?
150.
Wow, okay, that is a lot. That is a lot. Okay.
Yeah, we are 90 years this year.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right. So if I'm not...
Big club.
It is a big club. Okay, before I ask you the question, how much actually is your DDF for global grant you have to be able to finance so many projects?
Right. Our district DDF lebih kurang about $200,000 US dollars. About $200,000 US dollars. But Rotary Club Singapore only take about half. So, yeah. And of course we give a lot to the annual fund. So there's always enough. The thing is that in our district, we don't do that many global grants in our district, except for COVID-19 now. But if it's not because of COVID-19, we don't do very many. Most of the grants that we've done about maybe 120, 130 in the district. Most of them are outside the district.
So you're saying 120 global grant is in a year, or altogether? So on average in a year, how many global grant that do you actually do?
Rotary Club Singapore do about 10 to 15, and the district do another 10 to 15, so maybe about 30.
Okay.
Grants,
all
yeah.
right. Okay. And that's just all the money coming from your district grants, or is there any corporation involved in your contribution, contribute to the grant?
Okay, we get money from everywhere. We get money from members, we get money from foundations, we get money from non-Rotarians, we get money from friends, we get money from business partners, everybody. We don't limit only to our Rotarians or to the district. The DDF is not enough to pay for all our projects. The DDF is only about 10 to 20%. The rest will come under cash. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in your global grant itself, there is a contribution from, let's say, another companies who's going to donate and things like that?
Yes, we work very closely with some foundation. I think some of you may have heard of Ish Tolaram Foundation.
Yeah.
So the chairman is also our member, and he believes very strongly. So big funding actually comes from Ish Tolaram Foundation, especially for the Indonesia project, because the chairman is originally from Indonesia.
Okay, all right. So there is another foundation involved in the contribution
Yes,
for the money as well.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. There is a question from someone saying that. Okay, how do you do your community assessment? Yeah, because this is very important. Yeah, how do you do it? Especially when you do a lot of projects outside your country, let's say Nigeria, and like, you have no knowledge about Nigeria. How can you assure that the community assessment that they do or they provide for you is actually the right one?
Right. So we only do projects if we are very confident of the partners. So if we don't know any club well enough, we will not do the project. That's the first one.
Okay.
So the one I tell my club members is we don't do project with strangers.
Okay.
So we need to know them well. Either we will visit. So I've been to Nigeria a few times because of Global Grant. I have no other interest there. But we set up first by email, and we discuss what are the needs over email, over telephone calls. And that's how we establish the rapport and we find out what is needed. But to answer the question, community assessment, there's a form that's available. There's 10 or 12 questions that you have to answer. And the questions are there, it's available. And usually the host club has to do this work. They have to go and visit the village, visit the schools and talk to the teachers and answer all the questions that's required in the form.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen the community assessment that need to be done before we actually apply for the global grant now. Mungkin ada teman-teman yang bertanya juga, how do you monitor the sustainability of your global grant? Because they are not in your country, and most of them, they are not in your country. So how you monitor that? Like, I know you can set up the whole thing, but to know that it is actually still sustained, and I believe that the Rotary Foundations also do the audit, for a certain period of time, which has happened a lot of times. So how do you make sure that you actually still keep on your sustainability factors?
Right. So every project that has been approved, you need to have a report. First report will be 12 months after the project is approved, and subsequent reports is every 6 months until the project is completed. So in the report, there is a section that asks you all the relevant questions. So the host club as well, together with us. So whenever I travel to Malang or to Batu, all right, I'll take the opportunity to meet up with the Rotarians and even visit some of the sites again to find out what is the progress and how many sessions have been conducted. If you are doing training, how many have been conducted. So all this will be recorded, and a report has to be made to Rotary Foundation every 6 months until you complete it. And your next question as to whether how do we monitor it? How do we monitor it? Yes. So we make visits. It doesn't matter whether the host Rotarian visits or the host Rotarians and international Rotarian visit. As long as one party visits is considered satisfying the requirement for global grant for reporting. That means you must follow up the project until you close the project, and the closure of the project is accepted by Rotary Foundation. So a report is required every 6 months.
Every 6 months?
Yes.
For how long? Forever?
Until the project is finished. Until you spend all the money. So it can be 1 year, it can be 2 years. Sometimes there's a problem to it. Before COVID-19, I spent a lot of time traveling to all my projects. So I have a schedule, if you can believe it. I visit the faraway places like Lagos maybe once every 2 years. I go to Indonesia, I go to East Java maybe 3-4 times a year. And in between, we go to India very often as well. There's a group of us. It's not only me. I'm not the Superman. I think there's easily 15 people in my club who are very good. And we have what we call country representative. So I'm the primary person for Indonesia and for Nigeria. So we have other people in charge of Malaysia, people in charge of Vietnam, people in charge of Cambodia. So if we have any problem, they will be the first one to help solve the problem. I'll just be the backup if it's needed.
Okay, so basically only 15 members in your team who actually go everywhere?
The very active one. The very active one. Yeah, right.
Out of the 100 and something?
Yes, 150. We have a committee for international service. There's about 50 over people. But the one who actually does the planning, who actually know everything very well, who can start a global grant anytime, we have about 15 to 18 of them. No problem. Much bigger than any other club, I must say.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. All right. I've got a question from PDG Alusius Purwa, PD Al Purwa. Pepe Shahul, most of your projects outside of your country, meaning that you have become international sponsor, meaning you have to participate with more than 30% of the budget. How do you manage to get so much funding?
The Almighty. Somebody taught me right from. I used to be very upset if I cannot get a project funded within a period of time. I used to be very upset. So one kind gentleman in India pulled me aside and said, "Shahul, don't worry. If the money don't come today, the money don't come this month, the money don't come this year. There's always next month. There's always next year, and always a year after." And you'll be surprised the number of times where I really feel that we're going to be underfunded. The number of Rotarians that have stepped forward and say, "Are you short of money? No problem. I'll support you because I believe in your project. I believe in global grants." So that is something that we try to do. We try to make sure that our donors understand where the money is going to. I don't know whether that answers PDGL. You always ask me the most difficult questions.
Maybe what he wants to know if you can lend some of your sponsors to us. That's probably the question.
That I know already. Pepe Shahul promised already a lot. And the only thing, we don't have enough clubs who have expert in doing this like Singapore. Has 15 plus Rotarian expert and are willing to do things and going out. And that is amazing. In Indonesia, big club, even big club can only have 1 or 2 who are willing to learn.
It
not
started,
to do it.
It started with 1 or 2, right? And then hopefully you'll get 5, 6, and 10 to be able to actually manage all these things. Yeah. All right.
But we are doing 7, 8 a year is already a lot. Many districts in the world only 2 or 3 maximum global grant they make.
All right. Siapa dulu di RFC-nya ya? Okay, there is I think this is an invitation for Pepe Shahul. Maybe you can actually match this club to someone else, some other club in Singapore. It's from Tirta Gangga Karangasem. We have the community in terms of Pusat Kegiatan Belajar Masyarakat, which is like a community service, learning service, and then they were thinking video with them. Yeah, but we'll get more information about that one. Maybe if you can match them up. See, this is me. My job is matching things.
Susana.
Yes.
Boleh sedikit saya ceritakan mengenai apa yang kita alami selama ini di distrik 3310.
Ya.
Mungkin 10 tahun yang lalu ya, di distrik kita itu selalu mengalami kesukaran untuk menggalakkan atau mendorong Rotarian memberikan uang kepada Rotary Foundation. Karena apa? Karena kita membuat analisa bahwa Rotarian ini tidak mengetahui apa yang akan digunakan uang yang diberikan kepada Rotary Foundation. Jadi setelah Pipi Shahul mengetuai komite untuk di Global Grant, District Global Grant Chairman, beliau selalu men-sharing ya kepada para Rotarian di distrik kita, memberikan cerita-cerita yang memberikan inspirasi kepada kami semua di Rotarian di distrik 3310. Memberitahukan bagaimana uang ini telah digunakan untuk global grant dan segalanya. Dan dengan demikian tahun demi tahun yang maju ke depan untuk memberikan duit kepada Rotary Foundation itu meningkat di distrik kita. Begitu juga dengan klub yang mengajukan permohonan untuk global grant juga meningkat. Ini semua berkat dari pertolongan yang diberikan oleh Pipi Shahul kepada kita semua, karena kita mendengarkan cerita-cerita yang diberikan di-sharing oleh Pipi Shahul itu sangat tersentuh hati kita semua, mendengarkan cerita yang dari beliau ini. Jadi dengan demikian, banyak Rotarian yang akhirnya tersentuh hatinya dan memberikan duit tanpa dipaksa. Sedikit kalau boleh saya cerita demikian. Terima kasih.
Oke, jadi tidak ada pemaksaan untuk ini ya, PDG Andre ya. Cuma disenggol-senggol dikit ya.
Ya, tidak ada. Dan juga tadi telah diutamakan dengan PP Shahul bahwa tidak seharusnya memberikan $1.000 US.
Ya.
$1 US pun boleh, terserah. Pokoknya daripada tidak memberikan, apa yang dapat diberikan sangat bermanfaat untuk kita semua. Terima kasih.
Ya, itu juga yang dilakukan oleh distrik kita sekarang, di mana kita encourage every Rotarian to actually contribute to the TRF, no matter how much. Tapi mungkin sering-sering kita memberikan informasi how much you can give and what's that money worth in doing good. Mungkin orang akan lebih understand. Karena, for example, our club, we have the Yayasan Balik Kids, which is the sponsor kids for children. This happening already for I think about 18 years now, and we're supporting children, about 700, 800 children every single year. Some of them already go back to the village to help out. We even have already moving the project from the location to another location because that location has already been self-sufficient. So they don't need our help anymore. We move to a different project. With $100, they can support one child. So, and most of them, they are actually from Australia. And then for them, $100 per year is nothing. It's a cup of coffee for them. But the idea of $100 can actually save a child future. That was actually making them so eager to give their money to us. So mungkin itu yang kadang-kadang Rotarian itu nggak mendapatkan apa ya, bayangan. Sebenarnya saya menyumbang $10 itu, $10 itu bisa jadi apa? $25 itu mau jadi apa? You're right, Past President Shahul. PHF doesn't mean anything. PHS doesn't mean anything. Global, the major donors and things like doesn't mean anything. But the meaning is actually what humanity or what life that actually you touch with that much money. I think that's what we need to know, we need to understand, is the humanity that you actually invest your money in. Thank you very much. That's a very, very touching subject. Thank you very much. Ada pertanyaan yang lain? Atau kita sudah mau selesai nih sebenarnya? Saya tutup ya untuk DJI.
Dari Rotary.
Sudah tadi?
Yang
sudah
Rotary,
tadi? Yang masalah social community assessment?
Bukan. Rotary menanyakan, is there any grant for the Rotary? Rupee Shahul. Can Rotary get a grant for their project for Rotary?
Sorry, it's a global grant for Rotary?
Yes. Is there any global grant for Rotary?
No.
Or they have to collaboration with the Rotary?
Okay, for application, they have to collaborate with Rotary. But together with the Rotary Club, they can actually apply for the global grant together. Yes.
Do you have?
They cannot do it on their own at this moment.
I see.
Do it on their own.
Yeah. Do you have any example for the project collaboration Rotary and Rotary? An example project?
Even our Help the Children project, we involve the Rotractors. In fact, the Rotary Club of Malang Kota Raja, if I remember the name correctly, was actually formed because of the Help the Children project. Because every year there's a central activity for them, and the students are actually the children of the Rotarians, as well as the university students nearby. So they actually come together, form the Rotary Club, and we have a very good collaboration with them. Yes, but for Rotary Club to actually do a global grant by itself, I think the RFCL is here as well. I'm not sure it's allowed at this moment.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Okay, let's answer that. Ya.
PP Irawan yang mau ditanyakan yang tadi pagi email
PP Irawan. Nah, monggo.
Saya mau menanyakan berita yang disampaikan oleh PDG Al tadi pagi bahwa untuk tahun depan atau mulai 1 Julai untuk Global Grant, the Rotary Foundation tidak akan match untuk cash donation.
Memang benar ya. Ini berita yang terbaru ya.
Yeah.
So from 1st July, if your project is submitted after 1st July, the cash portion, porsi cashnya tidak diberikan matching 50% lagi.
Okay.
Kan sebelumnya di matching 50% ya untuk contribution cash, tapi selepas tanggal 1 Julai nggak ada lagi matchingnya untuk cash, cuma DDF aja. So what it means is that we have to change our strategy a little bit. It's no point doing very big projects. So help the children, if we do a $150,000 project, it doesn't make sense to do in global grant at all. Because in our district, we can only get 10,000 DDF. So the balance is in cash and there's no matching. So we have to change our thinking. We have to do smaller projects. So if the project is 30,000, 40,000 US dollars, it makes sense. If Rotary Club Singapore gives 10,000 DDF, that's already 20,000 to the project. So you just have to raise the balance only. So even in Singapore, we are looking into how we can make use of this project and to do smaller projects now. But I'm very upset that they have stopped this matching. I'm really, really upset. I think, you know, Rotary Foundation, they always tell us that they want to raise $2 billion by 2025. And now they are saying there's no more matching. So I'm really upset. Because some of you who can remember, I'm sure PDGL will tell you the same thing. During the matching grant, the matching for cash was 100%. Right, PDG? Betul ya? So
Yes,
now now they can't even match. They can't even match 50%. So we are waiting for news. Hopefully we will get some clarity. Hopefully this will not be forever. Maybe for the next few years, maybe we'll go back to the matching later on.
I think this decision is made very quickly and immediately imposed because they have all the World Fund money is exhausted, and that is the reason. If you put your cash donation toward global grant, that doesn't make a World Fund. So that's why TRF encouraged Rotarian to support annual program funds, which is in 3 years will come back as a DDF, and then half is going to be World Fund to match all the DDF we need. So I think we have to go and follow the rule. First, we can try a bit in 1 or 2 months, but afterwards we will adjust ourselves.
It's a sad day for me, but we will just have to work within the rules. Yes.
Yes, because you have a lot of cash from outside in Singapore. We don't. In our place, we don't have many cash also.
Meaning in Indonesia, it doesn't affect much then PDGL?
Not much.
Not much.
Not
But
much.
it affects a lot with the cash contribution from RC Singapore.
Yeah, a lot in Bangladesh too. Bangladesh and in India also, they affect a lot.
Okay. So what is actually the reason being? They don't have money to match?
No, because if you use the cash portion,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't go through annual program fund,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that is immediately gone.
Yeah.
And they cannot be used for making more money for 3 years.
Mm. Okay. Alright. One last question ini sampai ada yang japri ke saya nih. Dari DGE Nyoman Swastika, how come you got cash contribution? That's really a lot. I mean, more than 75%. I think we already answered that one. Did we? Maybe Professor Shahul, do you want to answer it again?
DGE, can you repeat your question, please? DGE?
Can someone give the microphone to DGE?
Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Hi, how are you? This is Andre. Wow, really good explanation for our district, yeah, for my district. Yeah, Professor, very interesting. You say that you have more than 70 until 80% compared with DDF, yeah, about for the global grant. How come you got the very high contribution? and maybe you make something fundraising event or something?
Okay, no. In our club, what happened is that we don't do fundraising for Global Grant Project. We write to them and we tell them, let's say, the same way that I put at the end of it. We ask our club members to sponsor surgeries. So we say, you give $50, you will sponsor 2 surgeries. So how many surgeries you want to sponsor? Some people will say, okay, I sponsor 4 surgeries, I give you $100. Some people say, I'll give you $500. Some people will give $5,000. At the end of the day, we wanted only 10,000, we will get 15,000. And the extra money we will put in annual fund. So same thing for Help the Children. We tell them each child $105. How many children you want to support? Some will say 1, some will say 20, some will say 50. There will always be more money than what we get. All right, but we have to explain to the Rotarians what we are doing. We have to bring them to Malang, to Batu, to actually see for themselves. So that is a reason that is more important than actually raising money. When we bring them to Malang and Batu, we don't collect money from them. We just want them to see. All right, so when the opportunity comes in the future, they will be willing to help.
Okay, that is actually very interesting. So you ask the members to if they want to participate personally to the project. Yes. All right, that is actually a very, very good point. All right, any other?
I give you another example. You know the bus that we bought for the orphanage?
Yeah.
I sold the seats one by one. Each seat was $500.
That's a good idea.
On the bus. Yeah, we sold them 1 seat each, you know. I say, you want your name, I'll put your name there. It doesn't matter.
Where do you put the name though?
Sorry?
Underneath? Where do you put the name though?
Just behind the seat.
Okay, all right.
Seriously, they want, we'll do it. So the school in India, same thing. We named the classroom after them. And we say, your name is there. Every year you have to support the 20 children there.
Okay.
And they say, wow, that's a good idea. I can ask my family members to contribute. So it becomes a family thing for them.
Yes. I think that is fantastic. All right, I think we are running out of time for all the questions. If we continue on until maybe you're gonna miss like sholat maghrib, kemudian sesudahnya juga akan missing out. Maybe dinner also, no dinner tonight. I have to finish all the questions. So basically dengan Global Grant sendiri sebenarnya Rotary International the TRF itu sudah lengkap step-stepnya. Cuma banyak sekali dari kita yang masih malas untuk membaca the whole procedure. Betul ya, PDGL ya? Maunya dikasih tahu aja ya. Jadi
sebenarnya memang jangan salah. Untuk membuat satu global grant yang sukses itu betul-betul perlu waktu banyak sekali. Banyak PP Shahul itu full time job. Betul?
Jangan ditakutin PDG. Tadi kan PP Shahul bilang kayak riding a bike. Awal-awalnya kan jatuh-jatuh, susah. Tapi kalau 1 sudah goal, 2 on the way, 3, 4 dan selanjutnya, gitu kan? Betul ya?
Betul.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now we have to close the presentation. I would like to ask everyone to give a big hand for PP Shahul again. We would like to invite. I'd like to invite DG for the induction. Yeah, 10 of the members. Is that correct?
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna give the time to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you once again, PP Shahul, for the amazing presentation, and I hope this increase our knowledge about the grant, and of course can motivate and inspiring us to do more in this world with our donation. Fellow Rotarian, mungkin satu hal yang menarik dari apa yang disampaikan oleh PDG Andre tadi, betul yang disampaikan, saya sendiri ikut mendengarkan para member dari Rotary Club Singapura yang hadir pada waktu Help the Children Project di Malang dan Batu. Setelah program selesai, sambil meneteskan air mata, mereka mengatakan, tahun depan saya mau ikut lagi, tahun depan saya akan memberikan donasi yang lebih. Jadi ketika itu mereka tidak hanya sekedar membagikan alat-alat sekolah untuk anak-anak, tapi datang ke rumah-rumah mereka. Mereka ingin melihat sehingga hati yang dia berikan, bukan sekedar memberi barang. Dan itulah yang membuat pariwisata kita semakin meningkat, karena setiap tahun 60-70 members dibawa untuk datang ke Indonesia, dan ini meningkatkan dan menumbuhkan pariwisata kita juga. Once again, thank you so much PP Shahul and all of the member of Rotary Club Singapore. And we hope that we got more global grand collaboration with your district. Baik, saya akan mengundang Presiden dari Surabaya Persada, Presiden Eni dari Surabaya Persada, yang akan melantik 10 member baru. Beberapa di antaranya sudah dilaporkan ke Rotary Internasional, dan inilah nama-nama dari 10 member yang dilantik baru di periode tahun Connect the World Rotary Club Surabaya Persada. Silakan Presiden Surabaya Persada, apakah seluruh member ini hadir di sini? Bisa mic diberikan kepada Presiden Surabaya Persada? Presiden Eni?
Bisa di-unmute langsung, Presiden Eni langsung.
Presiden Eni?
Ya, unmute sendiri.
Dan seluruh member yang namanya tertera di sini, apakah hadir semua? Mungkin silakan di-unmute yang namanya tertera, 10 orang yang tertera dalam screen.
Tadi.
Iya.
Hadir Bu.
Ya, semua baik.
Saya Fitri hadir.
Oke, baik. Mohon dijawab pertanyaan yang saya berikan kepada 10 member ini dengan jawaban iya, saya bersedia. Kepada Diah Ayu Kusumawati, Nani Fitrini, Saskia Handari, Muhammad Ali Irsyad, Fitri Oktaviana, Haris Desitawati, Rosi Setiawati, Niputu Susari, Leo Wibisono, dan Radina Lindawati. Apakah Anda bersedia dengan tulus ikhlas tanpa paksaan untuk bergabung menjadi anggota Rotary di Rotary Club Surabaya Persada?
Bersedia.
Bersedia.
Baik, yang kedua, apakah bersedia untuk menghadiri meeting yang dilaksanakan oleh Rotary Club Surabaya Persada atau menggantinya dalam menghadiri proyek atau mengikuti kegiatan lain di luar klub yang disebut dengan make up? Apakah Anda bersedia?
Bersedia.
Bersedia.
Terima kasih. Yang ketiga, apakah bersedia untuk melakukan dan melaksanakan kegiatan-kegiatan yang berkaitan dengan pengabdian masyarakat bersama Rotary Club Surabaya Persada dan secara luas bersama Rotary Distrik 3420 Indonesia?
Ya, bersedia.
Bersedia.
Baik, yang berikutnya, yang terakhir, apakah juga tetap bersedia untuk membayar iuran-iuran wajib atau iuran yang ditetapkan oleh klub dengan ikhlas hati?
Bersedia. Bersedia.
Baik, dengan jawaban bersedia dari seluruh member, maka di depan nama Anda saat ini menambahkan gelar RTN atau disebut dengan Rotarian. Maka atas nama Distrik 3420 Indonesia, saya mengucapkan selamat datang dan selamat bergabung kepada Rotarian Diah Ayu Kusumawati, Rotarian Nani Fitrini, Rotarian Saskia Handari, Rotarian Muhammad Ali Irsyad, Rotarian Fitri Oktaviana, Rotarian Haris Desitawati, Rotarian Rosi Setiawati, Rotarian Niputu Susari, Rotarian Leo Wibisono, dan Rotarian Radina Lindawati. Semoga pengabdian dan keikhlasan Anda bersepuluh ini mendatangkan kelimpahan berkah dan mendatangkan banyak keberuntungan dalam kehidupan ke depan. Sekali lagi selamat, sukses selalu juga untuk Presiden Rotary Club Surabaya Persada, Pres Eni. Mari kita beri aplaus untuk mereka semua. Terima kasih, selamat bergabung di keluarga besar Rotary. Presiden Eni, ada yang mau disampaikan sedikit? Silakan Presiden Eni dari Surabaya Persada. Baik. Baik, mungkin salah satu mewakili dari Rotarian yang baru saja dilantik. Salah satu silakan mewakili. Apa yang membuat Anda tertarik untuk bergabung bersama Rotary? Salah satu dari 10 member tadi. Silakan. Presiden Eni bisa mendengar. Ya, silakan Presiden Eni. Pres Eni, silakan.
Mic-nya di-unmute dulu.
Mohon Mas Wahyu atau Mbak Upi, silakan tolong Presiden Eni, mic Presiden Eni. Mas Wahyu atau Mbak Upi, mohon bisa dibuka Presiden Eni, mic-nya.
Presiden Eni bisa langsung unmute sendiri, Presiden Eni, CP Eni.
Sudah di-unmute mungkin sinyalnya. Oke.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih fellow Rotarian untuk kesempatan ini dan seluruh member yang baru saja dilantik. Dan ini tentu saja menambah kekuatan di barisan Distrik 3420 menjelang akhir periode. Semoga kita terus bisa meningkatkan member kita dan tentu saja terinspirasi dengan banyaknya foto-foto. Semua tertarik. Your picture very amazing, PP Shahul. So our Rotarian inspiring by your picture. People of action, really people of action. You are a good photographer, and maybe some of us will learn from you how to make a good people of action photos. Baik, fellow Rotarian, saya akan mengumumkan untuk webinar seri kelima yang akan dilaksanakan pada hari Rabu minggu depan. Dan webinar seri kelima ini cukup menarik juga karena yang akan menjadi narasumber adalah PAS Distrik Rotary representatif di tahun 1990 sampai 1991. Beliau adalah Duta Besar Indonesia untuk Meksiko. Jadi pada jam 10 pagi, beliau di sana jam 10 malam. Jadi mari kita support dan kita mengapresiasi beliau. Duta Besar kita adalah mantan PAS DRR. Jadi Rotractor juga silahkan ikut bergabung dan akan hadir juga Brisia Jody, finalis Indonesian Idol 2018, yang banyak sekali digemari oleh anak-anak muda sekarang. Kedua beliau, narasumber ini memiliki passion yang sangat luar biasa sejak muda, aktif di organisasi, melakukan banyak kegiatan karya-karya yang bisa memberikan sebuah gambaran dan bagaimana mereka mencapai mimpi-mimpinya. Dan inilah pemenang giveaway untuk hari ini, webinar hari ini. Giveaway hadiah dari distrik yang diberikan untuk kedua pemenang giveaway. Yang pertama adalah DRR Adi Setiawan dan Iwayan Mertayasa. Pemenang dapat DM nomor handphone ke Instagram Rotary D3420 dan bagi yang belum follow, silakan follow ke Instagram Rotary D3420. Sekali lagi terima kasih seluruh fellow Rotarian dan Rotractor untuk kebersamaan ini. Semoga kehadiran webinar seri keempat ini bisa menambah wawasan. Once again, PP Shahul, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and we are waiting for the next project, next. And as you told us, invest in humanity is very like touchy questions. Invest in humanity. Thank you so much. Do good and good will come to you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, jadi boleh saya simpulkan yang final words adalah bahwa PP Shahul is just an ordinary Rotarian, but Rotary and his investment in humanity that gives him a superpower. Jadi kalau kita yang biasa-biasa sekarang cuma regular Rotarian, untuk mendapatkan superpower itu, maybe you can follow his footsteps. Ya, just invest in humanity, and then hopefully some of the powers will attach to you. Begitu, so fellow Rotarians and ladies and gentlemen, PP Shahul, DG, PDG, and all other leaders in this webinar seminar, I would like to say thank you very much for your time. Terima kasih atas waktunya. I hope what we've been discussed, what has been shared by PP Shahul, menginspirasi kita untuk menjadi lebih baik lagi, dan semoga semuanya akan mendapatkan superpower. Okay, thanks everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi semua. Om Santi Santi Santi. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Pepe Shahul.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
See you next time, PDG Andre.
PDG Andre left the building already, like an Elvis.
Terima kasih semuanya. Malang, Bandung,
Malang.
Palu, Makassar, Surabaya, Solo. Terima kasih semuanya.
Good.
Okay.